So I will be doing number 12 when the first section is matching. So we look at number 1, change. That is just the output minus another output, which is the only one that describes that, is G. 2 and 5% change or percent rate of change, we would instantly know that that is E or an I for either one. So you know that the derivative on the top for E, which that would describe number 5% rate of change, and the regular percent change would just be I. Average rate of change just describes the slope, so that will be slope of secant line. It's not instantaneous, secant line, and then slope of graph, and then the formula, which is change in f over change in x, which is j and h. Rate of change derivative, which would be FAC, that would be the derivative, that would be f, and then instantaneous rate of change, and then tangent line.
So the second part, which is part B, wants us to figure out which equation corresponds with the sentence given. So the sentence given is, from birth to age 3 weeks, the giraffe's weight increased by 10.33 kilograms per week on average. So you could go through all these steps and look at the increased 10.3 kilograms but I'm mostly looking at just this keyword, which is on average right here. And by looking at on average, we can rule out many different things. So for on the average, if we need to go back to review, it's just the slope, or the slope of the secant line. So by looking at these equations, we know that this is not the slope of the secant line, so it would not be A. We know that having the derivative on top is a rate of change, so it wouldn't be the regular slope, so it's not B. If we look at C, we can tell that this is the change in the Y, or the change in output, over the change in the input, which would be the slope. So when looking at the final section, we must interpret our own sentence of interpretation from an equation that is given. So as we look at this equation, you might notice something that looks very familiar from one equation, is that this looks a lot like the percent change, except there is no percent. So they did not multiply by 100% at the end, so there's no percent. Therefore, if this was percent, this would be 28.36%, but it is not. So to interpret this, we know that this is positive, so we will be using the word increasing. So this is an output with an input of 26 and 12. So I'll start off with from 12 weeks to 26 weeks, which T is the input. This is where what are we measuring at the, so the giraffe's weight is increasing at a rate of 0.2836 kilograms per kilograms.